The wind was dry, sharp, and full of red dust. A single figure walked across the old battlefield. She wore no armor. She had no helmet. No drones flew above her. In her hands she carried something strange, an old wooden rifle, its surface scratched. By age, its barrel dark with time. She looked like a relic from a forgotten war. Up on the ridge, alien soldiers laughed. Tall, insect-like creatures with glowing eyes and black armor, they stood in lines, holding pulse rifles and leaning on steel machines. Behind them, a large transport ship hummed, ready to take off. "That thing?" one of the alien officers said, pointing at her rifle. "Is she going to shoot us with a museum piece? Let her try." Another chuckled. "Maybe she thinks this is a movie." They were still laughing when she knelt down in the dust. No, one moved. She didn't speak. She didn't even look at them. She simply took a deep breath and aimed. 2 days earlier, the human colony of Ravel-9 was under siege. Alien forces Karuan. Raiders had surrounded it for over a week. Their ships blocked the sky. Their ground forces cut off all supplies. The colony's defense systems were weak and old. They had called for help, but no help came. Then she arrived, a woman in her late 20s. Worn jacket, no visible rank. She came from the outer wastes, walking across the desert. No vehicle. No radio, just a long cloth bundle on her back. At the gate, the guards asked her name. She didn't give one. "What's in the bundle?" "It's one," guard asked, reaching for it. She stepped back. "Don't touch it." Her voice was calm, but her eyes, they were strange, focused, quiet, as if she'd seen war more than once. "We don't have time for travelers."
"Right,"
the guard said. "We're preparing for evac. I'm not here to run," she interrupted.
"Right."
"I'm here to end this." The guard stared. "What are you, a bounty hunter?" "No, special ops." "No. Then what the hell are you?" She unwrapped the bundle. Inside was the rifle wooden stock, long barrel, polished scope. It looked ancient. The guards laughed, just like the aliens would later. "That thing fires bullets?" She looked them in the eyes. "8, she said. "It only needs 8. The commander of the colony didn't want to let her stay, but something in her voice made him pause. "You think you can stop an entire platoon with that antique?" "I don't think," she said. "I know." And so he gave her access to the high cliffs just beyond the colony walls. It's not because he believed her, but because she was the only one asking to fight while everyone else was planning to run. She walked out before dawn the next day, alone now. As the sun burned over the red dust fields, she lay on her stomach on a dry slope, her body still. Heartbeats slow. Her rifle rested on a rock. Wind blew dust past her face. But she didn't blink. She was watching. She had been watching for hours. Down in the alien camp, the Karuan soldiers moved in groups, guards at the perimeter, officers near. The ship, mechs parked in rows like sleeping monsters. She adjusted her scope. Her eyes locked on one Targetan officer giving orders. Near a command screen, she breathed out slowly and pulled the trigger. Crack! The sound echoed like thunder. A second later, officer's head burst open. Silence for a full 5 seconds. No one moved. Then panic screams. Alarms. Orders shouted in broken code. Sniperware. They got the captain. But the girl with the old gun had already moved. She slid back behind cover, crawling like a ghost. She didn't leave footprints. She didn't leave scent. She had planned this terrain. She knew every angle, every shadow, every escape route. The Karuan soldiers deployed drones, small flying eyes with scanners and sensors. They swept the cliffs, searching heat signatures, movement, sound. They found nothing. The alien commander stomped his foot. "She's using stealth tech." "No, sir," said a tech. "No energy readings, no signal, no active camo." "Then how is she invisible?" They didn't know, but she was watching them. Hours passed. Tension grew. The aliens set up jammers and barrier shields. They scanned the cliffs again and again. Some soldiers refused to leave cover. One officer started shaking uncontrollably. Girl waited. She didn't rush. She didn't need to. Her rifle held only 8 bullets. That meant each shot had to count. She lined up her next target. A soldier standing beside a mech, helmet off, drinking water. She exhaled. Crack. The second body dropped. Inside the colony, people watched from screens. The commander stood silent, staring at the playback. That can't be just a rifle one, engineers said. She hit him from ... at least a mile. And no heat signature, said another. That rifle has no electronics, no smart targeting. It's manual. The commander said nothing, but deep inside he felt it too. This woman, she was something else. Night fell. The aliens didn't sleep. They moved under cover, terrified of the darkness. They set up shields that curved over their heads. They fired blindly into the cliffs. But the girl didn't shoot again. She waited, let them panic, let them wonder, let fear do her work. She ate quietly under the stars. A small protein bar, sipped a bit of water, cleaned the rifle with soft cloth. And oil. Her fingers moved like clockwork, slow, precise, practiced. There were marks on the rifle. Symbols, names, years. Someone had carved them by hand. This rifle had seen other wars, other planets, other enemies, and it had never failed. Morning came. Bright, cruel sun over red dirt. The aliens moved again, faster this time, angry now. She's alone, they shouted. Push forward, flush her out. 5 soldiers advanced toward the ridge. Drones circled them. Mechs scanned the rocks. She was already waiting. She didn't aim for the front soldier. She aimed for the third crack. The bullet went through the third soldier's chest and shattered the armor of the fourth. Behind him, 2 down with 1 bullet. Panic returned. Now they knew. This wasn't just a sniper. This was something worse, something ancient, something human. One officer screamed, "She's using curse tech. It's witchcraft." Another shouted, "Retreat, pull back to the ship." But the commander refused. "She's one. We're hundreds. Charge the ridge, kill her." They all hesitated. Then the ground commander stepped forward. "You want us to charge into an invisible ghost who's killed 3 of us with 3 shots, sir?" The commander snarled. But even he couldn't argue. The girl lay in silence again. She felt the air shift. The fear spread. She closed her eyes for a second, remembering a voice. Her father's voice, long ago. Never fire unless you're sure. 1 bullet, 1 body. Make it count. She had made 3 count, 5 remained, and they'd all find their mark. The Karun commander slammed his fist against the steel wall of the transport ship. 3 shots. 3 dead, he growled. And we still haven't found her. The air inside the alien camp was thick with tension. Soldiers whispered behind cover. Some refused to move without armor. Others just stared at the cliffs, scared to blink. Outside, the wind blew again. The same dry red dust filled the air. The rocks stood still, silent, and somewhere in that silence, she was waiting. The girl with the old gun. No one knew her name. No one knew where she came from. She hadn't spoken since her arrival. She only listened. Watched. Waited. And when the time came, she fired. Every bullet was like lightning. Fast. Accurate. Deadly. The Karun soldiers called it impossible. "It's just an old human rifle," one of them said. "No scanner, no auto-targeting, not even an energy core." "It doesn't matter," whispered another. "That gun doesn't miss." The colony commander sat in the control room, rewatching the footage. Every shot came from a new position. She moved without being seen. There were no signs of heat, no dust trails, not even footprints. One of his lieutenants shook her head. "It's like she knows where the enemy will stand before they do." The commander didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on the screen. "She's not just shooting them," he said finally. "She's breaking them." Out in the cliffs she moved again, crawling low, slow. She knew the aliens were watching, searching, listening. So she became the wind. The dust invisible. She reached her next spot. A narrow ledge, hidden by two large boulders. From here she could see the entire enemy formation. They had moved their command post closer to the landing pad. Trying to stay mobile, she counted targets. One by one, then she opened her pack. Inside, 5 bullets, each one hand-loaded, brass casings, steel tips. Each one carried a mark carved into the base. Each one had a purpose. A tall Karuan officer stepped into the open. "We will not be hunted by a human with a toy," he barked. "We are warriors of the Black Spire. We do not hide." He held up his rifle and roared. That's when she pulled the trigger. Cracked, his chest exploded. His body folded in on itself. The aliens screamed, "Fourth bullet! Fourth body!" They launched the drones again. This time they used advanced scanners, thermal motion, chemical. They swept the cliffs, hundreds of them. One drone finally spotted something, a heat trace behind a boulder. It closed in fast, zoomed. Nothing, just a hot stone, heated on purpose. By her, she was somewhere else entirely. Now, the aliens began to panic for real. "Withdraw to the lower camp," an officer shouted. "Form squads. Move only in groups of 6. But even in groups they were afraid. One said, "What if she's watching us now?" Another replied, "What if she's already chosen who dies next?" The girl leaned back against a rock. She took a small sip of water. Dried meat. Then slowly, she cleaned her rifle again. Every action was quiet. Ritual-like? She remembered the stories. From Earth, of snipers who fought in deep forests, frozen mountains, burning deserts, warriors who hunted alone, without drones, without tech, just patience, skill, and one bullet at a time. She had studied them. She had learned their methods. And now, she was better than all of them. The 5th shot came just before nightfall. A Karuan sniper had climbed the ridge, hoping to take her from above. He never even saw her. She shot him mid-climb. The bullet tore through his shoulder and cracked the cliff behind him. He fell in silence. 5th bullet. 5th kill. Inside the alien camp, morale was broken. Some soldiers were crying, others sat in corners. Refusing to patrol? "We're not fighting a soldier," one muttered. "We're fighting death itself," another whispered. "This is a ghost. A curse." Their leader, the field commander, growled with frustration. "She only has bullets. Find her. Crush her. Ow. Or I'll feed you to the void." But even he was shaking. The girl sat in the dark, watching, waiting. She remembered a voice again. Her grandfather's this time. Real shooters don't fight with machines. They fight with silence. Her mind was calm. Focused, she thought of her next bullet. The 6th, she already knew its target. The aliens tried. New tactics they used. Decoys, plastic models that looked like soldiers. They set up sound traps. They created fake patrols. She watched it all and waited then. Finally, she saw the one she wanted, the mech pilot, a Karuan wearing high-level armor, protected by 2 guards. She didn't shoot right away. She studied his path. How he walked. When he turned his head, she calculated distance, wind, angle. Then she fired. Crack. The bullet pierced his visor. The mech behind him shut down. Guards screamed and ran. 6th bullet. 6th death. Now even the transport ship crew wanted to leave. "Commander, this is madness," the pilot said. "We need to evacuate." "She has 2 bullets left," he shouted. 2. "That's all." "And look what she's done with 6, the pilot replied. "We're not fighting a human. We're fighting precision." Night came again. Dark, cold, quiet. The girl didn't move. She let the fear grow. She let the silence speak for her, and it did. Every soldier lay awake, staring at the darkness. Every commander looked over their shoulder. Every drone flew in circles, useless. The humans in the colony began to believe in her. They whispered stories. She took out a mech pilot through his visor. She dropped an officer behind a shield. "She's like the snipers from the old wars." The colony commander called his lieutenant. "Get me her name," he said. "We need to know who she is." But no record came up. No ID, no file, no history. Only a note. Classified. Earth Command. Project Silent Fang. The commander leaned back, eyes wide. Oh, they sent her. On the ridge. The girl closed her eyes. 2 bullets left. 2 names already chosen. She breathed in the cold air. The war wasn't over yet, but it would be soon. And when it ended, it would remember her. Not her name, not her face. Just the echo of 8 shots. In the silence that followed, the sun rose slowly over Ravelnine. Its red light touched the broken rocks, the burned sand, and the dead silence between both camps. No one in the Karun army moved. They hadn't slept, not really. Every shadow felt like a rifle barrel. Every gust of wind sounded like the crack of another shot. Their minds were breaking. They hadn't even seen her face. Inside the alien command tent, the atmosphere was thick. The Karun commander slammed his claws on the table. She has 2 bullets left. That's it. A tech officer, shaking, said, "But sir, she's used 6 shots. 6 kills. We're down to half strength. She's human," he barked. "Humans break. Humans bleed." A younger soldier whispered, "Not this one." Everyone turned. "She's not like the others," the young one said. "She doesn't use drones. No armor. Just a rifle and fear." The commander hissed, but deep down, he knew it was true. From high above, the girl lay still in the dust, her face calm, her rifle ready. She had not moved from her new position in hours. She didn't need to. The enemy had moved for her. A memory returned. She was 14 years old again. The last time she saw her instructor, an old man with silver eyes and a voice like sandpaper. "You won't need an army, girl," he told her. "You'll only need patience, control, and silence. Let the enemy run. You walk. Let them shout. You breathe, and when it's time, they'll already be dead before they hear the shot." Her name wasn't on any public file. She had no medals. It's no official rank. But deep inside the hidden archives of Earth Command, there was a title written in black code. Project Silent Fang was created for a purpose, one that the galaxy forgot. A human soldier trained without machines. A human weapon made for psychological war. The last of the long-range ghosts. Back at the colony, people had stopped trying to evacuate. They stood on rooftops and hills, watching the horizon, waiting, hoping. "She's still out there," said a child. "She hasn't missed once," whispered an old man. "She's not just protecting us," said the commander. "She's teaching them." The Karun tried something new. They sent 3 decoy teams into the mountains. Hoping to bait her, each one walked in open terrain, loud and obvious. She didn't shoot, she wasn't fooled. She waited, then, through her scope, she spotted someone. Different, a Karun tech officer, setting up a long-range tower. A hidden one. She marked him. This one wasn't bait. He was planning an orbital strike. She adjusted the rifle, breathed, cracked the bullet, flew silent and clean. The tech's chest folded. The tower collapsed. 7th shot, 7th death. The scream from the alien base was loud. "ENOUGH, shouted the commander. He turned to his last loyal squad. "Find her. Kill her. Burn every rock if you have to." They nodded, but their eyes were full of fear. They sent 20 this time. Heavily armored scanners, drones, thermal vision, kinetic shields. They climbed the cliffs. Slowly, one step at a time. She watched from above. She knew this was their final push. She only had 1 bullet left, just one, and still. She didn't move. The aliens spread out, covering every angle. She let them. She listened to their footfalls, tracked their shadows, timed their movements. Then she saw him, the field commander. Himself, marching behind his troops, shouting orders, waving his weapon like a banner. She knew he wanted to be seen. He wanted her to waste her final shot on him. She didn't take the bait. Instead, she waited for a better moment. The soldiers grew closer. 10 meters, 5-3. She closed her eyes, breathed in, and vanished. The first soldier stepped over the ledge where she had been. He looked down. Nothing. No shell, no scent, no trail. Then dash boom. The cliff exploded under him. A trap, handmade, silent. Timed rocks fell. Screams echoed. 3 soldiers down, others injured in the chaos. A shadow moved. Between the stones, she was already behind them. She didn't fire. Not yet. She moved like a ghost. Soft boots, shallow. Breaths, the last bullet was still in her rifle. It had a name written on it, and that name was the commander, the alien. Leader saw the smoke from the cliff. His troops were retreating. He turned toward his guards. Protect me. I will call the orbital strike myself. But she was already watching him through her scope. 100 meters, no wind, no movement, just breath and heartbeat. She remembered her instructor's final words. The last shot is not for war, it's for silence. Make it absolute. Squeeze the trigger. Crack. The last bullet flew. Through the air, through armor. Through command, the commander dropped without a sound. 8th bullet, 8th body, and then nothing. The alien army froze. Every soldier stopped. No orders came. No voice. On the come, no leader, just the wind. And the silence that followed, inside the colony, cheers rose. People hugged, shouted, cried. She did it. All 8. They're retreating. The commander of the colony looked out the window and whispered, "Thank you, whoever you are." On the cliffs, the girl sat quietly. Her rifle rested across her lap. All 8 shells lined up. In front of her, she closed her eyes and let the silence stay. Smoke still hung in the air. 8 shots had been fired. 8 Karun soldiers, leaders, snipers, pilots, and finally the field commander were dead. The girl with the old rifle sat still on the ridge, her weapon resting across her lap, the barrel cooled. The chamber emptied. 8 shots, and now ... silence. But silence didn't mean the war was over, not yet inside the Karun dropship. 2nd level commander took charge. He was younger, smarter, less proud than the one she had just killed, and far more dangerous. He studied the battle logs, the soldier reports, the video footage. "She's not a ghost," he said coldly. "She's a problem." He pointed at the screen. "And we solve problems with machines." 3 hours later, the sky above the canyon darkened. A loud hum echoed over the rocks. Then came the sound of metal wings, drones, hundreds of them, fast. Small, armed with sensors, heat seekers, and micro-dash missiles. They weren't here to scout. They were here to hunt. Back on the ridge, the girl opened her eyes. She felt it before she heard it, that low vibration in the air, the movement of hundreds of flying machines. She stood slowly and picked up her rifle. It was empty. She didn't reload. She didn't need to. Instead, she wrapped it in cloth and slid it across her back. Then she picked up her small gear bag and disappeared into the rocks. The first wave of drones flew in V formations, scanning everything: heat, movement, sound, shape, even air pressure changes. "She won't get away now," the Karun tech leader said confidently. "She has no more bullets," the soldier added. The commander nodded. "She's finished." But they didn't understand. This was no longer about shooting. This was about surviving and making them bleed. The drones entered. Narrow canuna, perfect kill zone. Nothing moved inside, just red rock and sand. Then dash, boom, explosions erupted from the canyon floor. Dust flew, metal ripped, drones fell like insects, crashing into each other, sensors fried, wings broken. She had laid traps, simple ones, made from scrap, wire and old mining tools. She knew machines. But more than that, she knew how machines think. The survivors regrouped. Mid-dash air, they switched to thermal. They caught a trace. Faint body heat under a rock outcrop, A swarm moved in. 20 drones, closing fast. They reached the spot and found a heat-emitting cloak tied to a cactus. A decoy. From above, a rock dropped straight onto one of the drones. It exploded. The rest spun wildly, searching, panicking. They couldn't see her, but she was always watching them, in the alien. Command post. Panic returned. 24 drones lost in 5 minutes. Her traps are primitive, but precise. She's guiding them, one tech whispered, like animals into a net. The commander narrowed his eyes. She's not just escaping. She's playing with us. And it was true. She moved through the canyon like a ghost, using shadows, wind, and terrain. She walked quietly, using flat footsteps. No footprints, no sound. Her breathing was slow, her heart steady. No tech could match that. One drone caught her. Movement near a cliff ledge. It flew in fast, locked on her shape. Target marked, missile launched, but before it hit, the girl jumped off the edge of the cliff. She vanished behind a rock wall. The missile hit. Air boom. The drone turned to follow, but hit a steel wire across the canyon. It spun once. It's exploded. Another gone. The Karun command post shook. The tech leader stood pale. She's downed 47 drones. With no bullets, said another officer. The commander stared at the screen. Furious. Send in the elite AI drone squad. No delay. Full AI override. Kill on sight. These new drones were different. Sleek, black, silent. No lights, no heat trail. Fast as lightning. Smart as any soldier. They flew low and split into 4 squads, each one scanning with deep spectrum. Sensors. They would not be fooled. But the girl had gone deeper into the mountain paths now. Old tunnels. Abandoned mines. Forgotten escape routes. Places where GPS didn't work. Where signals bounced off stone. She had mapped this entire region 2 days ago. She knew where every dead end was, and how to turn each one into a trap. One AI drone entered. A tunnel. Moved fast. Scanning every inch, it found a human body heat signature. Lying still near a wall, it approached slowly. The signature didn't move. Closer. It reached down to scan. Click, boom. The body heat was from a heating pad, a wet jacket. The explosion crushed the drone and sent 3 others. It's flying. She was still ahead of them, still moving, but they were catching up. One drone finally got close. It turned a corner and saw her dot standing still, unarmed. It locked on, fired a stun round, but the shot hit a rock wall behind her. She'd thrown a reflective mirror just in time. The drone. Recalibrated, too late. She was already gone. The commander couldn't believe it. She has no weapons. There's no drones. And still she's killing us. She's using fear, said a voice behind him. Everyone turned. It was the colony commander, speaking through a hijacked channel. You sent machines to fight a human, he said. But humans don't just fight. We hunt, and she's one of the last. Back in the canyon, the girl stopped running. She reached a high cliff overlooking the alien camp. She could see the dropship. Now, and more importantly, its engine system. She smiled slightly. There was still one thing left in. Her gear bag. Not a bullet, not a bomb. Just a small, old-school, magnetic charge. No tech, no signal, just heat, pressure. In the right spot, she placed it under a ledge above the ship. Then she climbed. Back into the shadows and waited again, letting the fear return, letting the silence speak above her. The last drone hovered. Its systems scanned the ground, the cliffs, the camp. It couldn't find her, and then boom, the ship below exploded. The engines caught fire. The command tent collapsed. The AI drone paused in mid-dash air, confused, and in that moment of delay, a falling rock crushed it. The Karun army was broken. Their leaders gone, their drones destroyed, their ship burning, and all of it. It's from one human, one rifle, and a mind trained to turn silence into a weapon. From the cliffs, the girl stood once more, and for the first time. The alien camp was on fire. Their command ship burned. black smoke rising into the red sky of Ravel-9. The remaining soldiers scrambled in panic. Orders shouted. Weapons dropped. Some ran. Some just froze. All around them, the cliffs were silent. No. Drones buzzed above, no bullets flew, and that silence was worse than any attack, because they knew she was still out there. She didn't even use a gun this time, said one officer, shaking. She blew up the ship without firing a shot. She's watching us right now. I can feel it. They looked up at the cliffs, eyes wide, scanning every rock. But all they saw was dust and wind and shadows, far away, hidden deep in the stone. The girl with the rifle sat alone. She had no bullets left. Her rifle was unloaded. Still she held it. With care wiping the barrel, checking the scope, not for battle, but for memory. She had trained for this, to become a ghost, to fight with fear, not just bullets, to use silence as a weapon. And now, the enemy was breaking apart, without her firing a single shot. Her mission wasn't just about killing, it was about making them. Believe she could kill again at any moment. And they did. Back in the alien camp, discipline was gone. Some tried to repair the drones. Others begged the transport crew to escape. One group even talked about surrender to a single human. Their new leader, cold and logical officer named Verak, stepped forward. He slapped one of the panicked soldiers. We do not surrender to primitives. But even his voice shook. Varak turned to the others. She is one. We are many. Regroup. Rebuild. We fight again. But the silence answered him. No one moved. No one believed anymore at the human colony. The mood was changing too. The people watched from the walls. Some smiled. Some whispered prayers. One child held a wooden toy rifle and whispered, "She's still out there." The colony commander stood on the highest platform. He looked toward the cliffs. "She broke them," he said softly. His second-in-command asked, "Should we send troops to help her?" "No," he replied. "She doesn't want help. She is the help." That night, the stars over Ravel-9 were quiet. No ships in orbit, no reinforcements, just dust. In fear, in the alien camp, Varric sat in the center of the tent, planning. She has no bullets. She can't keep fighting. "But sir," said a soldier, "we lost 72 units. She destroyed our ship. She disabled our drones. All without backup." Varric stared into the table. "She's just one." "She's not just anything," whispered the soldier. "She's what we were told didn't exist anymore. Human, who fights like a myth." In the shadows, the girl was already moving. She didn't rest, didn't speak, didn't slow down. She planted more traps, old school wires, pressure plates, dust screens. She used simple tools. No batteries, no tech, only things made by hand. The kind of tools most armies forgot about long ago. She hadn't forgotten because Earth trained her differently. She thought of a name, not hers, her mother's. A sniper too, one of the first Death Worlders. Trained for solo operations. Lost on a far planet. Never found. But her legend lived on, and now the daughter carried that weight and passed it to the enemy. Back at the camp, soldiers began to argue. "I'm not going back out there. She's watching us. Every time we step outside, someone dies. We've got tech. We've got numbers. She doesn't need tech. She is tech." As Tech Varak pulled his blaster and fired it into the air. "Silence!" But silence had already taken control. Even the bravest soldiers wouldn't walk near the cliffs. Not anymore. Then something strange happened. 3 alien soldiers walked toward the human colony. Unarmed, hands raised, waving white cloth. "Don't shoot," they shouted. "We want to talk." The humans watched from the walls, stunned. The colony commander stepped forward. "Why are you here?" One of them replied. We want to surrender." The commander raised a brow. "To a human colony?" "Psst. No," said the soldier, eyes wide to her. That night, word spread fast, across the alien networks, across nearby systems, even among mercenaries and bounty hunters. A A single human had broken a full Karun platoon. With one rifle, 8 shots. In fear. Inside her cave, the girl placed her rifle down. She opened a small metal box and took out a data crystal. Inside were names, coordinates, files marked classified. She added a new name. Ravel 9. Echo status. Complete. She closed the box. But she didn't smile, because she knew. This was just one battle, and somewhere, someone else was watching now in a far part of the galaxy. An alien warlord sat in a dark room watching a screen. He saw the footage, the burned ship, the broken drones, the shattered troops, and the single human woman walking through the dust, no sound, just footsteps, and that old deadly rifle. He leaned forward and muttered, "Find her, before she finds us." The air above Ravel 9 turned colder, not because of weather, but because something had changed. The Karuan soldiers no longer shouted. No more drills, no more patrols. Only silence, and silence they had learned belonged to her. Inside a dark tent, Commander Varak sat alone. He stared at the scorched command screen. Footage of the ship exploding, drones crashing, soldiers running, all caused by one human. One woman, no bullets left, no backup, and still. They had lost everything. He bared his sharp teeth and hissed, "She's not a soldier, she's a symbol. If this spreads, the Empire loses more than a planet we lose control." Varak opened a locked case and pulled out a black cube. Inside were orders from High Command. Last resort orders. He sent the signal in orbit. A black ship, uncloaked, small, fast, deadly. Inside were 6 warriors in obsidian armor. The Eclipse Squad. Elite Karuan hunters. No names. No fear. Their orders. Find her. Kill her. Leave nothing behind back on the surface. The girl moved through a forgotten mine shaft. Dark, narrow, quiet. She had set her final traps. Here, simple ones, silent ones. Because she knew they would send someone. Not soldiers, killers. The real kind. The Eclipse Squad landed at night. No lights, no noise. Their armor absorbed sound. Their boots left no trace. They split into pairs and entered the cliffs. Each was armed with heat-seeking blades, sonic disruptors, and anti-human gas. They had trained for Earth-class predators, but not for her. Pair. One entered a deep canyon. One tapped a scanner. Movement. 50 meters. Breathing human. They moved fast. Blades out. They found a body crouched behind rocks. A hooded figure. No. Response. One reached forward. Click. Boom. The rocks exploded. Only one body came out, and it wasn't the human's pair. 2 climbed the ridge. Thermal readings showed nothing. But something felt wrong. One knelt down to scan the dirt. Fine thread, too. Late a steel spike flew from the cliff and pierced his neck. The other turned. But she was already behind him. Silent, she didn't shoot. She just moved past. He reached for his weapon and slipped right into a hidden pit full of sharpened metal poles. Varek watched the live feed from the Eclipse Squad vanish. One by one. Impossible, he muttered. They were trained to kill anything. "She's not anything," said the tech officer. "She's the trap." It's the last 2 members of the Eclipse Squad. Activated cloaking mode. They scanned the mine entrance. Heartbeat detected movement inside. They moved in step by step. One stayed at the front, the other circled behind. Silent as air, then dash crunch. The front scout stepped on something. A wire gas. Burst from both sides of the tunnel. Not poison dust. Blinding dust. The rear soldier's sensors. And went black. And that's when he felt the blade, not as hers, she had taken. One of their knives earlier returned it with precision. For Karun killers down. 2 left. They ran from the tunnel fast. Panicked, silent. But the girl didn't chase. She didn't need to, because the path they took out was already mapped, already mined, already marked. The first one triggered a shock trap. His armor locked up, froze in place. The second one escaped to the top of a cliff. He breathed, heavy, looked around. No sound, no wind. He dared to relax. And then he turned. She stood behind him, unarmed, still watching. He raised his blade, but froze. Her eyes weren't angry. They were calm. She nodded once. He didn't understand. Then he stepped back and fell into the hole she had dug hours earlier. 10 meters? Straight down, impact broke his armor and his spine. The Eclipse squad was gone. All 6. No bullets used, no backup called, just her at the colony. People were celebrating, but the girl didn't. Returned, she stayed in the rocks, watching, waiting still, not speaking. She didn't need words. Her actions were louder than war. Inside his tent, Varric stared at the final message from High Command. If Eclipse Squad fails, retreat immediately. She is too dangerous. He crumpled the message, then stood slowly, alone now, his army in pieces, his ship gone, his killers dead, and her still somewhere out there. He opened a come line. To all units, he said, begin evacuation. Back in her hidden cave, the girl watched the dust trails of alien ships leaving the planet. She didn't cheer. She didn't rest. She just picked up her rifle again, still empty, still powerful, and she whispered something to the silence. Let the galaxy remember what one human can do. The skies over Ravel 9 were quiet again. No more enemy ships, no more patrols, no more Eclipse Squad. They had come for her 6 elite Karuan hunters, trained to kill the deadliest life forms in the galaxy. Now they were buried beneath the rocks. She had defeated them all. And she hadn't fired a single bullet since the day the ship went down. The girl with the ancient rifle sat alone in the cliffs. She watched the last Karuan ship disappear into the clouds, but her face showed nothing. No joy, no relief, just calm. Behind her, the long rifle leaned on a stone. It still only held. It's 1 round. The 8th shot, the one she saved. Not for fear, but for purpose. Down in the colony, humans gathered on the outer wall. They stared at the empty sky. Someone shouted there. Leaving a cheer followed. Children laughed. People cried. The commander raised his hand. Quiet. He looked toward the cliffs. She's still up there, he said softly, watching. She coming back now? A soldier asked. No. The commander answered. Not yet. Act. She's not done. Far away, in deep space. High Command of the Karuan Empire held a meeting. Their screens showed destruction. Footage of Eclipse bodies, exploded ships, troop logs with one word repeated again. And again. Human. One general slammed a fist on the table. She's just one woman, another whispered. She's one message, a message we failed to understand. The Emperor leaned forward, silent for a long time. Finally he spoke. Then we must erase the message, before it spreads. The girl walked down from the cliffs at last, slowly, quietly. She entered the forest edge, where a few scouts had once tried to sneak up on her. Now the traps were disarmed. The ground was peaceful. But something was different in the wind. She knew this wasn't the end. It was the pause before the next move. At the edge of the colony, a young soldier spotted her walking through the trees. It's her, he shouted. People ran to the walls. They watched as the woman stepped out of the forest. Dusty, wounded, silent, but standing tall. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She simply walked toward the colony gate. The doors opened, and for the first time since the war began, she stepped inside. People gasped. A child whispered, "She's not even that big," another replied. "But she's heavier than an army." The commander met her halfway. He saluted. She didn't salute back, just nodded. "Welcome back," he said. "You didn't call for help. You never asked for reinforcements?" Still, she said nothing. He gestured to the watchtower. "Want to come up? You should see it. You did it." She looked up at the tower. and slowly shook her head. I have 1 shot left, she said quietly. Everyone went silent. The commander looked confused. 1 bullet? After all this, she nodded. I saved it. What comes next? Later that night, she stood on the colony roof, alone, rifle in her hands. The stars above were clear, but her eyes were locked on a single direction. A system far away, Delta Reach, a known Karun command post. She had seen the data on it long ago. Now, it was time. She removed the bullet from her rifle's chamber. It gleamed under the moonlight. She turned it in her fingers. Carefully carved into the side were 8 marks, 7 crosses, 1 circle. The last shot. Not meant for defense, not for panic. It was for the end of the chain, the head of the beast. The colony's children asked about her. The adults told stories. They spoke of a girl with an ancient rifle who never ran, who never gave up, who scared off an empire with just 8 shots. But they didn't know. She had only fired 7. Somewhere in deep space, aboard a hidden human cruiser, a private message was sent, encrypted, old code, marked only by a single name. Red Echo. The message read, she's alive, Ravel 9 secure, preparing to move. 1 shot remains. The reply came moments later, understood. Target confirmed. Authorization granted. She closed the file, loaded the final bullet into the rifle, clipped the old, strapped across her shoulder, and stepped into the shadows. The colony never saw her again, but they remembered every year. Lit 8 fires. 7 for the fallen Karun. Squads. 1 for her last bullet. They never knew where it landed, but they knew what it meant. The Empire would never sleep easy again. Far from Ravel 9, in the cold heart of space, Karun Empire celebrated. At Delta Reach, their most secure command center, the officers drank and laughed. They thought the war was over. They believed fear had faded, they thought. The girl with the ancient rifle was gone. They were wrong. General Karun sat in the high tower of Delta Reach. He was the one who gave the order to burn the Earth colonies, the one who approved the death squads, and the one who said humans break when pushed. Hard enough. Now he sat in comfort, sipping dark smoke wine, staring out into the void, and then the alarm blared. Unknown signal detected. Incoming pad minimal power trace. He frowned. No explosion. Negative, the technician said. No weapon signature. No life form. Just metal. The pod slowly entered the station's hangar. No. Defenses activated. It was too small to trigger anything, too old, too human. Security officers surrounded the pod. Weapons. It hissed open inside. There was no bomb. No soldier. Only a wooden box. And inside the box, 1 bullet. An old, worn rifle bullet with something carved on its side. A single circle. The 8th shot. General Scarwin stared at it, confused. He turned to his officers. What kind of message is this? But even as he spoke, his skin went pale, because a screen flickered on behind him. Footage from Ravel-9, 1 woman, 7 shots, an entire army destroyed, and now this was the 8th. They tried to laugh, tried to mock it. She's sending a souvenir, 1 guard joked, but nobody laughed back. Because when they scanned the bullet again, they saw something terrifying. A chemical signature, not a bomb, a code, encoded into the metal shell. Human war virus. Digital, silent, precise. The bullet was a message and a weapon before they could isolate it. Across cameras, control panels, engines ska, are you and shouted, shut it down. Too late, the lights flickered, the systems cracked, 1 by 1. Delta Reach began to fall, not with fire, but with silence. Every door locked, every ship powered. Off, every signal jammed, back on Earth, in a hidden bunker. The woman watched a screen blink green. Delta Reach, offline. She leaned back in the shadows. No cheers, no smile. Just quiet, mission complete. She stood up, rifle still on her back. Still old, still empty. still deadly in the Karun Empire. Panic began to spread. One station down, no sign of attackers, just a bullet. A single bullet. The Empire knew the meaning now. Not one of death, one of warning. I can reach you. In backroom meetings, generals whispered in fear. She's alone, but she shut down an entire command. What if there are more like her? She doesn't need an army. She's the idea. The Emperor stared at a map of Earth colonies. He spoke just one word: withdraw. The colonies heard the news days later. Delta Reach. Gone. No attack fleets. No bombs. No invasion. Only silence from the enemy. And one girl missing. Still children. Drew pictures of her. A girl with a long coat, a long rifle. In no fear, they said she lived in the stars now, watching, protecting, waiting. One child asked her grandfather, "Was she real?" The old man smiled. "She was real," he said, "but she became something more. They say she never returned. That the rifle was never seen again, but in lonely places across the galaxy. Karun captains sometimes find strange marks. 7 crosses, 1 circle, in those ships. They turn around immediately, because the Empire learned. Something not just about weapons, not just about humans, but about what happens when you laugh at something old, something patient, something human, and they never laughed again. The girl with the ancient rifle, she had 8 shots, and she used every one to change the galaxy.